a result. Clay Travis, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Have a great weekend.
You too. So while one of the most competitive House races this election cycle has just shifted a little bit, and these things move around in the final days, but it's now shifting in favor, this is New York 17, of the Republican candidate inside of 2 weeks to Election Day. We'll talk about that so you know about all these races to watch next.
Psoriatic arthritis symptoms can be unpredictable. Monday, your joints hurt.
Next, it's on your skin.
I got Cosentix. Feels good to move.
Feel less joint pain, swelling, and tenderness, back pain, clear your skin, and help stop further joint damage with Cosentix. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lower ability to fight them may occur. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Have a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur.
I feel better.
Check out these moves. Just what's the move?
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentix.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
Stay tuned to learn more about this limited time offer from Renewal by Andersen.
When it comes to our homes, we only want the very best, particularly when it comes to choosing replacement windows and doors. Hi, I'm Ann Romer, thrilled to be with Nick from Renewal by Andersen.
Thanks, Ann. We believe that everyone deserves to have windows and doors that look great, stand the test of time, and don't break the bank.
And with our unpredictable weather, I gotta tell you, quality and durability, super important.
Absolutely, and that's where a Fibrex composite material truly shines. It's twice as strong as vinyl, so it's warranted not to crack or rot. And with our energy-efficient glass, our windows help keep your home cozy in the winter and cool in the summer.
Well, that all sounds great. So what about the cost?
We know that affordability is top of mind for every homeowner. And we pride ourselves on delivering outstanding windows and doors to fit your style and your budget.
Wow, that really sets you apart. So tell me how Renewal by Andersen is tied to the community.
Well, for starters, our team members live right here in your community. We know the challenges homeowners face, and we are committed to delivering the very best for our customers. Plus, we custom build every exclusive acclaimed replacement window in the USA.
It is great to know that you have such strong teams here.
Before October 31st, buy one window, patio door, or entry door, and get the next one 40%.
You know why I'm not allowing you by my...
With a minimum purchase of 4, plus
Save 80%, 100% the value of your home, and that you can get at New Day USA.
Call New Day USA, 1-855-383-5191. $70,000. $70,000. That's a lot of money. If you're a veteran homeowner, that's how much you can take out at New Day. Pay off your high-rate credit cards and costly car loans, make home improvements, and put extra cash in the bank with our lower-rate New Day 100 VA cash-out loan. With home values high, now's the time to turn the equity in your home into the cash you need. Call 1-855-383-5191.
All right, inside of 2 weeks here, and we want to talk a little bit about the House, because this is all very important in terms of the future of the country. And Republicans have a slight majority, very slight majority right now in the House of Representatives, so any moves on this could really make a big difference. One of the closest races that we will be watching very closely on election night is New York 17. This is where Republican incumbent Mike Lawler is up against former Congressman Mondaire Jones. The race shifting from a toss-up now to lean Republican in our latest power rankings. Joining me now is that New York Congressman Mike Lawler. Congressman, always good to have you with us. You were just telling me there's 80,000 more Democrats in your district.
Yep, and it's
than
home.
Republicans.
Yeah, and it's home to the Clintons, George Soros, so by no means a Republican bastion.
How are you ahead?
We do the job. I've been rated the 4th most bipartisan member of Congress. Mondaire Jones rated 381st. I passed 10 bills through the House, 5 of which got signed into law by President Biden. He passed one to rename a post office. He supported defunding the police, cashless bail, called cops racist and white supremacists. 50% of households in my district have a cop, a firefighter, or a veteran living in the household. They don't take too kindly to those claims.
Well, he says that you voted to cut funding for police 3 times.
It's false. Even the New York Times said it's false. He's talking about an earmark from former Senator Richard Shelby for $600 million in Alabama that was removed from an appropriations bill. I have fought to support law enforcement. I fought to repeal New York's disastrous cashless bail law. He supports it. I have fought to ensure that cop killers remain in prison without the possibility of parole, pardon, or clemency. He wanted to give cop killers the right to vote. So for him to say that he supports law enforcement, it's laughable. I've been endorsed by every single police union in New York, and for good reason.
Real quick, let's play this from AOC. She's coming after you. Watch.
Maybe Trump thinks Mike Lawler is spectacular because he voted to restrict abortion at least 10 times.
Really spectacular.
Or that Lawler voted to put doctors in jail.
All right, obviously not AOC. That's the DCCC. And opposition shenanigans. You real quick on that?
Yeah, look, their whole play is to make it about Trump and abortion. But voters recognize that the Democrats have created one disaster after the next, from an affordability crisis to a migrant crisis to the international crises around the globe. And I don't think people really are going to buy into this idea. I've been rated the 4th most bipartisan member.
Has abortion law changed at all in New York?
No, and I'm not seeking
exactly.
to change it. And I've been very clear. I will not support a federal ban on abortion. I've always supported exceptions for rape, incest, the life and health of the mother, and I fought to codify IVF access into federal statute.
Isn't it nice of former President Trump to throw a big rally for you at Madison Square Garden on Sunday? He's coming to New York, and you're going to be there with him?
I will be there. A lot of folks from my district certainly are going to be down there, and people are enthusiastic. Obviously, this is the most consequential election in a generation. My district will be the deciding factor in control of the House, and if people want to support us, they should go to LawlerForCongress.com or text Lawler to 85007 to make sure we keep control of the House.
What do you say to people who want to know why President Trump is spending time in New York 13 days out?
Listen, as any true New Yorker, you love to go to the Garden. It's the most famous arena in the world.
Plenty of Garden, right?
Absolutely. So, look, obviously this is the last election that he's going to be partaking in, so it doesn't surprise me that he wants to close out at the Garden.
Well, I think he's a New Yorker at heart, and I think he's excited to come back to Madison Square Garden and be the headliner. As you say, every New Yorker grows up with that dream. So we're going to watch that on Sunday. Thank you. Good to see you. New York 17 will watch that race on election night. That is the story for this Wednesday. Thank you for joining us today. New episode of the Untold Story podcast is my conversation with the CEO and co-founder of the Hallow app. And if you don't know the Hallow app, I really encourage you to check it out. Millions of people around the world have tuned in to find a new way to pray. And it is really on fire, this app. You can check it out, FoxNewsPodcast.com. My conversation with him. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a good night.
All right, less than 2 weeks to go, and which way will voters go? Forget about independents or undecided voters. Consider the less reported phenomenon going on right beneath these tightest tick polls. Donald Trump is gaining ground with Rust Belt auto workers.
Donald Trump?
Like maybe a majority of those union workers' ground. Sound familiar? Well, it does to some powerful Democrats who don't like much what they're hearing. Kamala Harris' running mate Tim Walz can't believe it either, and recently ripped those unions who haven't come around to the Democratic ticket. That would presumably include the Teamsters, which famously decided to say out of endorsing anyone for president this year. But if Teamsters boss Sean O'Brien is intimidated by all this, he certainly had a funny way of showing it in an exclusive chat with me. Wait till you see and hear for yourself, because you will, right now. Welcome, everybody. I'm Dean Cavuto, and this is your world. And what in the world was the vice presidential candidate thinking of when he really railed after unions who had the audacity not to choose anyone for president? He was making a veiled reference, of course, to the Teamsters. The Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, not impressed. Take a look.
we don't regret our decision. We're a pretty autonomous international union. As a general executive board, both candidates weren't specific on a lot of issues that were important to us. So we let the local unions and the joint councils, which are area regional councils, make their decision. And that's what we do. We're well respected in this organization.
Well, not by Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's running mate. He had this to say about union leaders who didn't make a commitment for the Democratic ticket. Take a look at this.
These are folks that are directly responsible to their members, and look, their members, some of them split off. The bottom line is, how can you be with a guy who wants to bust a union? It's not there to make collective bargaining the right, not to make health care there. So, but that is the cognitive distance that I don't quite understand. So you're talking about some of those leaders did not show the courage they needed to. The vast majority of union leaders showed the courage they had.
I think he's saying that you didn't show courage.
Yeah, that's kind of a knucklehead statement. I show courage every single day. Our organization shows courage every day. And to make statements, it's kind of disrespectful to our members and the process. He's talking like an educator, like he is in a classroom teaching a lesson. The lesson that needs to be taught is that our members don't need to be educated. Our members are educated. And that's the problem with this party right now, is they are looking down on our members, saying they need to be educated. What I would do if I was him is actually start talking to our members and find out what the actual problem is. Instead of pointing fingers and looking for excuses, find out what the problem is and create a solution so you gain that support back.
I'll be careful how I quote you here, Sean, but you had said of the Democratic Party, it has effed us over for over 40 years. But over that time, your union has consistently and almost always backed Democrats. So,
right,
was this,
exactly.
Did this suddenly dawn on you and said, we're sick of it, I'm sick of it? What happened?
No, I think you know my demeanor. I'm a pretty chill person, but when you're attacking me personally in the organization for listening to our members, you do get fired up. And then, like anything else, we look back at who passed trucking deregulation, who introduced it. We look at who passed NAFTA. We look at bankruptcy reform that never happened. A lot of our agenda wasn't put forth. Look, Joe Biden's been the most pro-union president. I've said it and I'll keep saying it again. However, one issue doesn't define our support and or our members' support. So, yeah, you look back over 40 years and remember this. For the last 16 out of the 20 years, the Democratic Party, and I'm a Democrat, have been in control. We didn't get Employee Free Choice Act when we had a full Senate, Congress, and also a Democratic president. So there's a lot of things that could have been done that haven't been done. And you look right now, people are publicly saying in media forums like CNN and the New York Times that big tech is they're the Democratic supporters. And big tech is threatening a lot of our jobs with automation and AI.
So big tech is the problem. You said that the Democratic Party is in fact bought and paid for by big tech companies. That didn't endear you to many Democratic operatives.
Look, I'm not worried about Democratic operatives. I'm worried about, people doing the right thing. And instead of portraying it for the working people, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, actually prove it by showing it. Something is wrong, and I've stated this time and time again. If 60% of our members are leaning Republican, then it's up to the Republicans to figure out why they're voting that way. Democrats to figure out why our members are voting that way. Instead of pointing fingers and looking for excuses. I mean, look, whoever wins this election, they've got to win over working class America. If you're a Democrat, you got to win back the support. If you're a Republican, portraying yourself, you want to support working people, you're going to have to prove it. And, I'm not going to sweat people coming at us, with knucklehead comments or anything else. We've got to focus on fixing this country. There's a divide down the middle, and let's not put people in the middle of political parties. Let's fix the problem and work together.
All right, so the way it stands now, we have Kamala Harris and Donald Trump going at it. Are you saying when you talked about Donald Trump or Joe Biden a few minutes ago, if he were the nominee now, would you have committed the union's support behind him?
If who was a nominee?
If Joe Biden were the nominee.
No, I would be in the same spot, I believe. But a lot of our decision was based upon how lot of these answers were answered around our round table in the surveys of our members. And look, we've got a lot of issues ahead of us as working class America, and all candidates weren't as strong as they should have been on our issues.
What about Donald Trump? Have you talked to him since that decision, non-decision, whatever you want to call it?
I have not.
How about Kamala Harris?
I have not talked to her.
How about Joe Biden?
I have not talked to Joe Biden.
That says a lot there, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm on too many Christmas cards lists this year. But
So let's say Donald Trump wins back the presidency. How will that go, you think, for you, for your members?
well, the one thing that we're going to do regardless of who wins the president's election is demand and hopefully get a meeting and make certain that each and every candidate who has promised to be the working people's president, that we hold them accountable. And there's been a lot of documented potential support on our issues that are important to us, and what's being said and what's being done, we want to hold them accountable. So it doesn't matter who's in there, we're going to try and push our agenda forward either way.
A lot of your members like the idea of tariffs on foreign goods, and Donald Trump plans a lot of tariffs on a lot of foreign goods, particularly Chinese goods. What do you think?
Well, look, I think a lot of the trade agreements in the past that we've spoken about previously, like NAFTA, we lost a lot of good American jobs. We lost a lot of good union jobs. We lost manufacturing. I think everybody, regardless, especially if you're in the working class, we want to see manufacturing come back. We want to see creating middle class jobs. So, I'm not certain about the tariffs that's going to solve the problem. Let's solve the problem of bringing manufacturing back to the United States, giving people the opportunity to have careers and produce products in this country. I mean, think about the pandemic. There was such a strain on supply chain because a lot of the products that we needed weren't built in this country. And then you look at, the strike that happened a couple of weeks ago with the longshoremen. And thankfully that didn't go on long. But again, if we produced a lot of these products, we'd be in a far better spot of creating jobs and also keeping supply chain moving.
All right, Sean O'Brien, he heads the Teamsters, and I'm telling you, this is a fascinating development, folks, because we will look at the independent voter and those who haven't decided. It seems unusual at this late stage that a lot of people have not decided. But the shit that's going on beneath the scenes that you probably don't hear much about is what's happening in union households. Increasingly now, departing from Democrats, or certainly not in the huge numbers they used to for Democrats. And he is an example of a union leader didn't want to get in the way of that and let his workers decide which way to vote. If you take a look at one poll among Teamsters workers, 2 out of 3 prefer Donald Trump. That in and of itself is a stunning development. In the meantime, to Donald Trump himself, he's campaigning in the Peach State of Georgia, 16 electoral votes at stake. Tight as a tick there.
Here's something, and I got it for him. We've done a lot, and the single biggest thing
Trump, Donald Trump.
is to get out of the Iran nuclear deal. The Iran nuclear deal was a disaster, and unfortunately,
I love Donald Trump.
nobody knows her as Harris. The other, I talk about it all the time. You say Harris, everyone says, "Who is that?" The vice president. Can you believe she's the vice president? She came in last. He picked her. She came in last, and now she's running. Think it was just for a second, Mr. Mayor, because I'm going to get right back to Israel, because it was one of the things, and that was the Abraham Accords. That was one of the most incredible things of all. We would have had peace in the Middle East, and we still will. We'll fill that out. We'll get them all in. We have the 4, but we'll fill it out. But if you look at what's happened and what's happening with our country and what's happening, the lack of respect for the two of them, we can't have that any longer. We have to be respected. We were energy independent 4 years ago.
Man, ignore me just watching the news.
3.5 and 4. And you had 5 for a while, and you had 6 and 7 even for a while. But a lot of things. So we're going to take care of Israel. We work with Israel. They say that in Israel, I could maybe run. Things didn't work out here. You could run for Prime Minister of Israel, and I get 97% of the vote. So, and of course I can't because
Having to move my tablet.
he said he's running for, And that's a lot of fake news you have back there. That's very impressive. That's very impressive. So we're going to do a lot for Israel, and we're behind them. And the big thing, we want to have peace in the Middle East. We want to have Russia stop with Ukraine. We're going to get that done. That was another thing would have never happened. You wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had Russia attacking Ukraine. You wouldn't have had October 7th, which was Israel. And the horrible, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country was Afghanistan. The way, not that they pulled out, we were ready. The way they pulled out, it was so bad. They moved the military out first, then you moved the military out last. I think it was one of the most embarrassing. I think that's why actually Putin went into Ukraine. But we're going to take care of Israel, and they know that. Bibi called me yesterday, called me the day before. We have a very good relationship. And I have to say they've done, fortunately they didn't listen to Biden, because if they listened to Biden, they'd right now be waiting for a bomb to drop on them. And they did their own work. They did not listen. They couldn't listen, because when he was asking, in fact, just the other day, they said to him, are you okay with what they're doing? Well, I don't want them to attack the nuclear, and I don't want them to attack the oil. They said, that's sort of the opposite. If you go and take the exact opposite for 40 years of Biden's foreign policy, you would be one of the greatest. Just take the opposite, you'd be one of the greatest in the history of foreign policy. So we're gonna work with them very closely. We're gonna work with all nations. We're not gonna have World War III. We're to World War III right now than we have been ever, maybe ever. And that will be a war like no other, because the power of the weaponry, nuclear weapons, and power it's indescribable, and you don't even want to think about it. And it's mentioned all the time. You know, I never mentioned nuclear. I never we rebuilt our military. We rebuilt the military. We had to give, these people gave a lot of military to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. They have parades.
Mark, we are monitoring this Georgia town hall meeting with former President Donald Trump, with 16 electoral votes at stake in that state. We're going to continue monitoring this, of course. Also bring you an update on what the candidates are planning in the next 13 days before the general election. Talk that there's growing pressure on Donald Trump to utilize the services of one Nikki Haley, why a big corporate service is a smart thing to do. After this.
If you have heart failure, Farxiga can help you keep living life with the ones you love. Ask your doctor about Farxiga today. Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections, and low blood sugar. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
Look, I got the new iPhone 16 Pro at Verizon. App Intelligence is pretty awesome. You can get it when you trade in any phone.
Whoa. You're seeing this right? At Verizon, new and existing customers can get iPhone 16 Pro and a new iPad, all on us. That's over $1,400 in value. Only on Verizon.
Parents and grandparents want a fun way to teach your kids all about gratitude at the first Thanksgiving? Order the Kids Guide to the Mayflower and the First Thanksgiving for free, and we'll include a free magazine and free video lesson too. Visit freethanksgivinggift.com. That's freethanksgivinggift.com.
This is our future, Mom. GoDaddy Aero creates a logo, website, even social posts in minutes.
Ow! Hey, I like it. Who wants to come see the future?
Get your business online in minutes with GoDaddy Aero.
I love being a builder. It's just a really good feeling to know that you've accomplished something. I need to hire people who care as much about building up the city as I do. So I use it. They sent my jobs to the top job sites and found people with the right skills and experience. I hired everyone from supervisors to field scientists. And less time hiring means more time building.
ZipRecruiter, rated the #1 hiring site. Try for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Fox.
2 weeks to go.
The 2024 election, the most mesmerizing race of our lifetime.
Get all the latest developments. Jesse brings them to you like no one else on primetime.
Best part of the party is sleeping in the bathroom. Party now, not listening to your dentist. make the Sonicare switch. Hurry, Jill. Be gentle, be effective. Be you, fella.
Shopping for tires used to really grind my gears. Before I went to Tire Rack. I got the best deal hands down. Tire Rack even gave me 2 years of free road hazard protection. Precisely.
Why choose a Grown Brilliance engagement ring? Because timeless and sustainable are a beautiful combination. Grown Brilliance.
America is always on the move. And when you move with Pods, you can trust us to deliver with care. Because nearly 99% of our deliveries are claim-free. Book your move today at pods.com.
I look amazing. I would totally buy a car from me. Good thing this jacket is chill flex, so I can stay cool and close this deal. Smile and the keys for a handshake. That's enough.
Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
And on a lot of politicians' minds, that you want to be the next president of the United States. Georgia
I am walking, I'm walking, I'm walking. I am walking, I'm walking, I'm walking. I am walking, walking, walking. I am walking, I'm walking, I'm walking.
Just south of Atlanta right now at that town hall, and we're monitoring those remarks to see if he addresses the accusations that were launched against him in the Atlantic magazine, of course, by his former chief of staff. So we're watching those remarks for that. In the meantime, he's not slowing down at all on the trail. He will be here tonight, and we just found out that Jason Aldean, country music sensation Jason Aldean, will also be here along with RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard as well. I want to talk about early voting numbers here in this state because they are just skyrocketing right now. They are through the roof, setting records. I think it's more about 2 million Georgians now that have voted in person so far. That's more than double previous records set in 2020. Now, Trump is also out now in recent polling, according to a new Atlanta Journal-Constitution poll, 47 to 43. That's still within the margin of error, Neil, but shockingly, 8% of respondents said that they are still undecided. Now, Democrats are also out there trying to get out the vote. They're getting some help from Bruce Springsteen. He's going to be doing a concert series in battleground states. First one happens tomorrow here in Atlanta, headlined by Vice President Kamala Harris and President Obama. The Trump campaign's last 2-week strategy is this. They want to be the underdog. They see their internal polling. They feel really good about it. They feel like they have all the momentum going into Election Day, but they say they want to act like they are down by 1 point, like they are the underdogs to ensure that everyone out there, every single supporter, gets out and gets to the ballot box. Neil?
Thank you for that, Aisha. In the beautiful state of Georgia, a lot at stake in these next 13 days, including what each candidate can do to seal the deal. A lot of big backers of the former president, and some who are not necessarily early on enthusiastic for the former president, say it's important that he tap Nikki Haley on the campaign stump. And the same thing, the billionaire investor who grudgingly ended up supporting Donald Trump, but is fully behind him now, says that would be a no-brainer. Take a look.
It would be a huge help to have her target independents and women, huge. And I told her that, and she agreed. She said, look, I'm ready to go. It's up to him. But what does he do? He opens his mouth and says disparaging things about her, which really, I was upset. You know, he talks about how bad he beat her and all this, instead of saying I would welcome her and I want her on the trail right away.
All right, so will he use Nikki Haley or not on the campaign stump? To New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, what he makes of that. What do you think, Ellen?
Well, there's no doubt Nikki Haley ups her game, especially in the last couple of weeks. The key for the last couple of weeks is giving people something hopeful to vote for, doing a lot of the retail politics. Trump is actually doing a bit of that, showing a little bit of that humanity that brings through all the negative stuff, and then just driving a strong get up the vote. There's no question Nikki Haley would be a huge asset in all those categories, especially in a lot of those swing states. We're talking about Georgia, North Carolina, states where she's campaigned in, she's built a grassroots base in. She would be phenomenal in that effort.
The question is, will he do that? He has said in a number of interviews that, of course, he's supporting it and appreciating that. So I'm not so sure if he ultimately will use her on this stuff. It might figure, given some progress he's making in the polls, that he doesn't have to. What do you say?
Well, look, Trump's going to do what he does. I mean, no one knows whether he will or won't. And even, again, he'll do what he wants, even against the advice of his own team sometimes. And that's just understood. He's his own individual. But be that as it may, it would definitely help. Again, I go back to those blocking and tackling, how to win an election, how to close it out with positively. If you can keep up a lot of those retail stops, keep showing some humor, keep hitting the issues that people really care about, the dysfunction overseas, the cost of living, not the economy, not tariffs, but just the cost of living, the ability to pay your bills, and the results, not just an open border, the results of the open border, which is the drug crisis that's hitting so many folks, tying that to public safety. Those are the top issues that these last undecided version of undecided voters are really carrying. And if he can speak to that, he's going to do well. The reason the Harris campaign is completely frozen, lost all their momentum, because all they do is talk about crazy things that Trump says and does. And while that gets me frustrated, gets a lot of people frustrated, it's not moving the vote here on out. The Harris campaign has to start being about something. I think it's too little too late. I think this is Trump's to lose at this point. He can't close the deal, but he's got to do it. But it's amazing to me how badly run the Harris campaign has been to date.
We've been hearing a lot of the comments from General Mark Milley, former defense chief Jim Mattis, John Kelly, his former chief of staff, saying that Donald Trump's behavior should disqualify him from becoming president again. Again, this idea that he's a fascist and the idea that his former chief of staff, that he admired Adolf Hitler. We should stress that Donald Trump has denied ever saying that. But obviously Kamala
Donald Trump?
are pounding that.
No! I love Donald Trump.
To be sure, but they're already ingrained, they're already counted into the vote, right? So the idea that he says outrageous things, comments like that attached to almost any other politician at this point in the race could be disastrous and really move things and would catch a lot of fire. Unfortunately, you're dealing with an individual who makes outrageous statements all the time. They're baked into the noise. So right now, again, folks are looking for the agent of change that is going to make their families' lives easier. It's really that simple. That's what it comes down to. I think he's got a lot of opportunity there on policy to drive that point home and finish strong. But, again, those statements aren't helpful, but they're just outrageous and crazy. I mean, half of America isn't voting for a fascist, right? I mean, that's just... I respect John Kelly immensely, but, nobody's thinking that, he's really tied into those statements, and he's denied them, and so people are just going to move on from it. It's a lot of white noise when it's been described as a negative campaign on both sides.
Gotcha, that he has denied the former president. But all of these guys, as over there, have said that was what he said. And a number of people that generals around which he had generals like that. Again, this is something that Donald Trump himself has disavowed, that he never said. Now it's getting so much attention that Kamala Harris did only a major speech to today.
It's getting attention in the media.
Right?
Yeah, look, it's getting a lot of attention in the media, but is it driving a vote? What's going on with the vote? And that's all that matters for the next 2 weeks. Is it driving a change of vote? It's not. Right? So the media, they spend all their time talking about these outrageous things Trump says. It's not moving the vote at all because at the end of the day, that's not what Americans are talking about. That's not connected. I've said for a long time, Trump is going to get a larger percentage of the African-American vote than any Republican presidential nominee in history. He'll get a larger percentage of the Latino vote than any Republican president. Why is that? That's an amazing story of what's happening on the ground that so many folks are talking about.
That would tell you a lot about what people are thinking about when they go into the voting booth, other than the media just talking about outrageous statements. I hate those statements, they drive me crazy, but at the end of the day, this is about who's moving the dial in the last 2 weeks.
So if you had information like that on Kamala Harris and remarks she had made some years prior, and you were running a campaign like that to bring her down, you wouldn't use that information?
Look, at this point in the game, you gotta finish up. Hey, there's a time and a place for the negative ads, how you do it, the messaging, and who you use for it. That's the blocking and tackling of a campaign. But with 14 days to go, you finish up. You finish connecting with the voter on a real human level, if you will. You drive that vote out, and you finish positively, and do something that neither candidate has done very well today. Give people something to vote for, not just someone to vote against.
All right, Governor, always good having you on. Thank you for taking the time.
You bet. Thank you, buddy.
All right, we had a huge settlement going to Wall Road today, and it had to do with McDonald's. It had to do with the fact that it's got an E. coli problem on its hands, and it accounted for about 100 points of that big problem today. What's going on at the Golden Arches that doesn't look too golden after this?
Okay, y'all, we got 10 orders coming in.
Starting a business is never easy, but starting at 8 months pregnant, that's a different story. I couldn't slow down. We were starting business from the ground up. People were showing up left and right, and so did our business needs. The Chase e-card made it easy. When you go for something big like this, your kids see that, and they believe they can do the same.
Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase with the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card from Chase for Business. Make more of what's yours.
We really don't want people to think of feeding food like ours as spoiling their dogs. Good, real food is simple. It looks like food, it smells like food. It's what dogs are supposed to be eating. No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
It's amazing to me how many people write in about their dogs changing for the better. The farmer's dog is just our way to help people take care of them.
At Biz2 Credit, we know you need to fund your business on time. When business is good, it needs time to expand.
Time for Biz2 Credit.
Bills are piling up, you might need extra cash to get ahead.
Time for Vista Credit.
Our fast and convenient online process makes it easy to get the funding you need. When it's time to take your business to new heights, Biz2 Credit makes it possible. Go to biz2credit.com/time or call 800-200-2891. Biz2 Credit, funding what's next.
When my back got injured very bad, I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day, for 3 weeks. Looked at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
You too can feel better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Call or go online now for a 3-week quick start, just $19.95.
Life insurance is too important to put off another day. That's why Select Quote makes getting coverage you need easy. Now get up to a $2 million policy with no medical exam and same-day coverage.
Visit SelectQuote.com now.
Only Purple's Gel Flex Grip passes the raw egg test. No other mattress cradles your body and simultaneously supports your spine. Memory foam doesn't come close. Get your best sleep, guaranteed. Visit Purple.com or a store near you.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month. So switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction. And get 2 unlimited lines for just $30 each. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today.
Well, Virginia might be for lovers, but it's been a good couple of decades since that state loved a Republican as its nominee for president. Glenn Youngkin on why that's going to change.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stairlifts now for a free information kit. and no obligation quotes. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn stairlift is definitely more affordable than Move.
The Acorn Stairlift has a padded seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn Stairlift folds away and even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call 1-800-709-4205 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-709-4205.
Sorry, I was listening to the news. Not the news, but the ads for some reason.
With the quarter pound burgers, but it could be more. Jonathan Hunt following all of this from Los Angeles. Jonathan. Hey Neil, no one's loving it right now. The Centers for Disease Control statement is simple and stark. Quote, McDonald's quarter pounder hamburgers are making people sick. And today McDonald's stock price is taking a hit in the wake of that warning, down by just about 5% today.
Well, this, of course, is every CEO's worst nightmare. I think the best way to handle it is to first, we've got to make consumers understand and believe that your number one concern is their safety and that you're...
So far, according to the CDC, there have been 49 E. coli cases, 10 hospitalizations, and 1 death across 10 states, with Nebraska and Colorado having the highest number of infections. McDonald's says it has worked quickly to identify the tainted ingredients, onions in this case according to the company, and to tackle the problem.
We've taken steps to proactively remove slivered onions, which are used in quarter pounders from restaurants in select states. We also made the decision to temporarily remove the quarter pounder from restaurants in select states. The decision to do this is not one we take lightly.
Doctors say the number of cases is likely far higher than the official CDC figure, given that many people with E. coli symptoms don't go to see their doctor. Those symptoms include severe stomach cramps and vomiting and usually begin 3 to 4 days after someone becomes infected. Most people, Neil, recover within a few days according to the CDC, but if symptoms persist